Just like cars or any other machinery really, aircraft come loaded up with all kinds of various different instruments that communicate to you what it's actually doing at any given amount of time. The most important instruments, and the ones you'll keep seeing over and over again, despite some design differences, are 6. The airspeed indicator, the altimeter, the vertical speed indicator, the attitude indicator, the slip indicator, and the heading indicator. Let's expand on each individual instrument for a brief moment to better understand what they're all about. First up, the airspeed indicator. The airspeed indicator is for all intents and purposes a speedometer, no different than the speedometer in your car. In fact, if you happen to fly a P-51 Mustang, it displays speed in miles per hour just like your car. More often, however, the airspeed indicator will show speed in knots. Now, the speed that is indicated with this instrument is known as indicated airspeed, and this is the most important airspeed reading because everything revolves around that. Takeoffs, landings, stall speeds, all these things are listed in your manuals in indicated airspeed. That said, it's worth keeping in mind that indicated airspeed is not the only airspeed there is. There is also ground speed, true airspeed, as well as calibrated airspeed. These extra types of readings are outside of the scope of this video, so I will talk about them another time. Let's move on swiftly to the altimeter. The altimeter quite often resembles a clock, and it indicates the altitude you're currently at. The long arm, the minutes arm in clocks, shows altitude in the hundreds. The short one, resembling hours in clocks, shows altitude in the thousands. The seconds arm shows altitude in tens of thousands. Please do keep in mind that even though the standard unit for altitude is feet, certain aircraft, mostly of the European stock, measure altitude in meters and kilometers instead. Extra care should be taken when configuring the QFE setting that can be seen in a cutout section of the altimeter. The QFE indicates the atmospheric pressure of the airport you're standing at. It is important to select the correct QFE setting to get correct altitude readings. Next up is the vertical speed indicator. All the VSI does is indicate to you how fast or how slow you're climbing or descending. This will be displayed in 1000 feet per minute or in meters depending on what you're flying. Besides the obvious use, however, the VSI is also great at indicating to you whether you're flying straight or you're diving and climbing spontaneously. When flying up high, it's difficult to judge where the horizon is, but the VSI has you covered. This neatly brings me to the next instrument, the attitude indicator. This is also known as the artificial horizon because more often than not, it will also feature a painted artificial horizon. The job of this instrument is to indicate precisely what your aircraft's attitude is, meaning whether it's climbing or not, as well as whether it's rolling. Now, the attitude indicator does not provide you with a rate of climb or with turn rate. However, it provides you with markings that denote degrees of climb or bank. Depending on the aircraft, the attitude indicator may also come with a slip indicator, which is the next instrument that we'll explain. As the name implies, the slip indicator's job is to indicate how badly and towards what direction you're yawing or slipping. Slip is usually the result of wind or gyroscopic precession on propeller aircraft. The slip indicator by itself is quite useful. However, you will often see it paired with a roll indicator forming a turn coordinator. In modern aircraft, autopilots and flight enhancing systems will automatically take care of the rudder and make sure you always turn in a coordinated way. In old school aircraft, however, you'll have to manage this yourself with correct rudder inputs. The turn coordinator will help you find the right amount of rudder you need to coordinate your turn. And last but not least, we've got the humble heading indicator. All it does is indicate your heading. The heading indicator is more stable and accurate, and as such more reliable than a simple magnetic compass, and it often comes with extra goodies such as radio navigation assists to help you find your way. That concludes the instrumentation video. Do make sure you familiarize yourself with all these instruments because they will accompany you for the rest of your flight simulation journey. Even if you are one of those pilots that only care about modern jets, should your heads-up display fail, you'll still need to be able to fall back on the good old gauges with needles. Join me on the next one where we are finally going to take off for the first time.